What's up, guys? It's Ethan again. I know, crazy, right? On this channel? Who would have guessed? But anyways, I'm here today with actually something new, something different. Critiques. Today, we're reviewing Blast's latest drop, Before You Go, which, It starts off with an incredibly short introductory track, which I would be lying if I said was anything less than just absolutely enticing and effective in the regard of establishing and transporting the listener into the world that is being created by Blast, even without him being present on the track whatsoever. We're drawn into what almost feels like a musical paradise in the track titled Sky Lounge Music, which is riddled with orchestral violins, smooth, simple guitars, and a really funky bass line, which all plays off each other very well in a manner that isn't really overbearing, and if anything is bare bones, save for the amazing vocals provided by ever so talented Cheyenne Wright. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Cheyenne Wright. But this leads us to the first real track of the album, which is titled Never Was Wrong, which pretty much just transitions from and picks up from the instrumentation and production from Sky Lounge Music and becomes an actual beat, complete with subtle snares and a seemingly kickless 808. The majority of the project follows what I can only presume to be the chosen singer's formula, for lack of a better word, of melodically rapping and singing kind of uncomplex lines over warm and bright samples and instrumentation. It is backed by simple, subtle drum patterns that aren't necessarily bad for what they do. If anything, I can go back and quote Kid Cudi, who in Man in the Moon even said, "All I do is try to make it simple. The ones that make it complicated never get congratulated. I'm something different in all aspects." Sorry, I'm getting carried away. But if the goal is to appeal to the masses and achieve major mainstream success, then Blast's current trajectory clearly proves that this formula that he's using really does work. It doesn't take away from his art. If anything, it only reinforces it in a way. Fake Love in LA, a track featuring Aaron Ray, is definitely a highlight of the project as well, considering it's a little bit of a shift sonically from the overall mood and tone of the album, as it takes a slightly faster pace and more present drums over a sample that is erring on being moodier and more blue in tone in comparison to the other songs. This song genuinely feels like the lyrics that are sung over it by Aaron and Blast, which, as someone who also makes music, I can admit can sometimes be a pretty difficult thing to accomplish. I listen to Fake Love in LA, and I really feel like I should be sitting in the passenger seat of a Ferrari Portofino or something like that, with the top down, cruising in the middle of the night down some long winding road in California, texting a girl who is currently posting on social media, but only very sparingly responding to my texts, but with what seem to be very caring and reciprocal messages, until she stops replying to me for like an hour and a half, leaving me feeling kind of confused, slightly spiteful, kind of depressed, but overall still with the understanding that I am okay. I am good. It is what it is. But from there, honestly, the next track I felt the need to speak on, Pick Your Poison, kind of falls flat for me. It kind of just feels like a lot of other cookie cutter mainstream R&B popish music that is being produced nowadays, and it doesn't really strike me as anything special. Of course, this is not a knock on Blast or any of the other artists involved, but that's just my opinion. Couldn't Wait for It, however, brings the project up to a higher note, both figuratively and literally, as Blast allows himself to sing in a little bit of a higher register than he did on the previous track, but it actually works really well. His flow switch about a minute into the track is also just a really pleasant break for the ears, especially from, the monotony of the rest of the album's experience up until this point. And also, I couldn't just ignore the fact that this track also has one of the greatest rappers to ever come out of Miami on it, Rick Ross. Especially lately, I just feel like Rick Ross just keeps getting better and better. While some might argue that Rick Ross's rhyme scheme and flow isn't particularly complex, I would argue back that the quality of his voice, as well as his delivery and his ability to make anything that he raps about sound extremely extravagant and luxurious without making the everyday man feel excluded or like lesser or bad about themselves and their lifestyle in general is what really puts Rick Ross in a league of his own. Now, Sometimes is a track that I was really excited for, considering it has Zacari featured on it, who in my experience has killed it on every single feature. He killed it on What's Wrong by Isaiah Rashad, Redemption from the Black Panther soundtrack, and Mood by Sir, just to name a few. But truth be told, this track overall, including Zacari's feature, unfortunately, didn't really warrant that much of a positive reaction from me. Zacari just kind of felt like a discount version of The Weeknd, featuring on a discount version of Don Toliver. It just fell short for me, to say the least. And the majority of the project from that point forward essentially just kind of is the same. It's all just repeated cookie cutter mainstream R&B, poppy, whatever. Talk to Me Nicely had a pretty nice sample on there. Production wise, I did kind of enjoy it. But outside of Rick Ross's feature track, everything from that point onward was just kind of, in the nicest way, boring. It's not a bad project, especially for someone who's still kind of new to the scene, per se, as far as I know. I just wish that I would have maybe heard a little bit more of a variety or diversity within the sample selection or, production, beat selection, and maybe even vocally a little bit. Therefore, with everything taken into consideration and me having listened back to the project multiple times over the course of multiple days, I would have to honestly rate this project Before You Go by Blxst a solid 7 out of 10. Maybe a light 7.5. Considering there are a couple of tracks I can definitely see myself coming back to on this project or incorporating into certain playlists even. So by all means, it is not a bad project. And I would recommend definitely others to go and check it out and then maybe come back, let me know what you thought. Or if you've already listened to it, maybe let me know what you thought in the comments. If you disagree, let me know why. I'd love to know. And I would love to engage in a bit of friendly discourse over the subject. As always, remember to like and subscribe. New videos every Friday, some Wednesdays. And until next time, stay low and stay slow.